How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into a special episode of NAISB. I'm former very average punter at Weber International, Reagan Harold. That is former All-American shortstop for the Midland Warriors. Shout out to G-Pack, Carly Fitzer. How we doing today, my friend?
You know what? We're pretty dang good.
We
60
are.
degrees yesterday in Nebraska.
You know, everybody knows the NAISB Invitational is something we're very happy about again this year two of it. And I've been checking them dates, that temperature out in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And I'm like,
How we looking?
please give me this like 60 to 70 degrees. I'm like, please, God, if anybody was there last year, they know it was chilly. We were happy. We were doing a dance to get up to 41, 42 degrees. But yes, it is beautiful out in the Midwest here in early January, early 2026. Carly, we're heading to the Midwest, but a little bit northeast of you. Talking today,
Yep.
two conferences, a two for the people, and we want to go hand up. Look, we know we're being a little inconsistent with schedule. We're adults now. Look, we're not in college anymore, y'all. We're not fresh out. We got responsibilities, things to do. Or wedding planning going on. Come
Yep.
on, come on. But
It's a big party.
hey, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I scheduled it where I didn't schedule it. I was told it would be scheduled April 25th. Guys, y'all know how it is. But yeah, very excited. But that's gonna actually be right before conference tournament time. So yeah, as soon as the NAIA postseason rolls around, bada bing, bada bang. Carly Fitzer, we are going to be talking about two conferences that start with a similar letter and then are in similar part of the country. We are of course talking about the Chicagoland and the Crossroads, the two conferences that we are going to preview today. And then when we get back on, of course, when we get in season, we know for a fact we are going to go our Monday, Thursday schedule. We're getting these conference previews out as we can. Obviously, when we get our normal in-season schedule with games on weekends and our midweek games, Monday, Thursday will be good to go there. But we're getting these previews out to you throughout the month of January as we can. We'll try to be more consistent about Monday and Thursday with those moving forward. Carly, the Chicagoland, the CCAC, Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference. St. Xavier went 16-0 in the regular season last year. They won the conference tournament a year ago. And we'll see. Let's talk about it. Let's talk through it with our picks and preview of the Chicagoland and see if we've got anything different happening in 2026. If you are new to NAISB or how we're doing our conference previews this year, a little bit different than years past. Years past, we would spend an hour and a half going through every team. We're not doing that this year. Of course, as the season goes on, we are going to be in depth with storylines and upsets and everything else in between. But we have broken down these conferences into categories for how we're breaking down NAIA softball conferences heading into 2026. Those categories are player of the year, pitcher of the year, breakout player, surprise team, regular season champ, and then we'll give you some non-conference and conference games. So we'll throw some names at you that we've gotten through the grapevine and through our questionnaires, all that good stuff. Carly, St. Xavier Cougars, they were a great team last year. They look to be poised to be pretty strong again in 2026. Thoughts on the Chicagoland heading into this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to jump right into it. They're my favorite for the regular season champs with all that they return. But I like to be surprised. I love a good surprise. I think there's a couple surprise teams in there that might give them a run for their money.
Yeah, Calumet last year was a team in the conference tournament, came in as a sixth seed and won a couple games, made a run. St. Francis of Illinois, they're always competitive in the CCAC. St. Ambrose returns a lot, especially in the circle, but we don't want to spoil anything later on. Carly, let's go to player of the year is where we are going to start. Who is your 2026 Chicagoland softball player of the year?
Yeah, sticking with my Saint X train right here, I'm going to go with Aubrey Roble, the junior infielder. Hit 516 last year. She tallied 80 total hits, 20 RBIs, a whopping 42 swiped bags, and only struck out 10 times on the year. I think she just missed it because her teammate Fiona Crane also had a phenomenal year last year. So I think this year's Aubrey Robles to take.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Saint X for my player of the year as well. And I'm gonna stay in the infield. I'm gonna go to first base. So Mallory O'Connor for Saint Xavier, batted 420 last year, and then led the Cougs with 12 doubles and 54 ribeye steaks thrown on the grill. Both players, Warble and O'Connor, were both Gold Glovers in the CCAC last year. I almost went away from St. X for Player of the Year in the Chicagoland. Isabella Landeros she had a really nice year last year at St. Francis. I believe the catcher will have another big year. Will she put up numbers like a Briley Bilger, who we'll obviously be talking a little bit when we get to the Crossroads with, obviously she's had big power numbers as a catcher for Indiana Wesleyan. I don't know if she'll have similar numbers this year, but I could see her putting up big numbers for St. Francis, who I think is going to have to score a lot of runs this year. No more Kirsten Manning for St. Francis, but it did bring in a couple of new faces that we will get. We will talk a little bit about later on. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Mallory O'Connor. You've got Aubrey Warble, so a pair of infielders for St. X is our player of the year. How about pitcher of the year, Carly?
Yeah, I mean, once again, I'm sticking with the St. X vibes here. Lily Strand, the junior pitcher, had a good year last year with a 2.43 ERA, went 17 and 5 on the year, 106 strikeouts and 138 innings, and opponents were hitting just 230 against her. Just a really phenomenal pitcher for them last year, but they do have a little something in the back, in the behind her in the back.
Yeah,
You want to?
I wanted to go with her freshman teammate, Peyton Ankowitz. I did not. She was freshman of the year. I'm just going to agree with you. Lily Strand is the smart pick. I know we tried to differ a little bit for the graphic, but I'm gonna go with Lily as well. Another sophomore. I know Peyton won freshman of the year in the CCAC last year. Certainly deserving. But St. Ambrose, and again, I don't want to spoil too much. I know
Yep.
you've got to take on them later on, but she was another sophomore who had a really good freshman campaign. St. Ambrose's Ada Boynton last year. She went 10-2 with a sub 2 ERA as the number 2 pitcher for the Fighting Bees. Watch out for Ada Boynton. If she's able to step up and have a step forward, she could not only be if she improves on these numbers from 10-2 with a sub 2 ERA, we could be talking about a pitcher that is in All American talks, not just All Conference talks.
Hmm. All right. Do you want to go breakout player of the year?
Yeah, breakout player of the year. You go ahead. I've got mine. But you go ahead.
Okay. Switching it up, I'm going to shift over to Calumet. I'm going to go Kelsey Lovelace, the sophomore shortstop, utility player. In her freshman year last year, hit 340, tallied 19 extra base hits and 35 RBIs. I think she's a key piece for their offense, and I think she's going to have a breakout sophomore year, skip the sophomore slump, um, and just be one of those stars for that Calumet lineup.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Actually, got to see her play a little bit down at Space Coast last year. Young player.
I
They were a
think I
really
remember you
young
telling me
team.
about her.
Yeah, maybe we even posted something about it during the Southeastern game. I believe that's who they played when I was covering them. I was in their dugout. I remember that. They loved Marsh, so points for Calumet
Hey, who
obviously
doesn't?
there. Absolutely. I was just on the phone with the coach earlier today and talking about it. Make sure you bring Marsh down when you come to the games. Marsh is doing very well. He's not in the room right now. He's getting his beauty rest and keeping my spot on the couch ready for the game tonight. That's a great, but yeah, great pick, Kelsey from Calumet. I agree. I think she skips the sophomore slump. I'm going to go with a new face to the Chicagoland, but not a new face to us and some diehard fans of NAIA softball. And if you're a general fan of Mid-South softball, you will know this name very well, and that is Caitlin Schofield. She spent the last 2 years, the first 2 years, in college softball with Coach Bailey Dillander and our Pats, the University of Cumberland. She's got 32 starts with a sub 4 ERA, 9-4 over her yeah, 9-4 over the 2 years, 86 and 2/3 innings pitched with 42 strikeouts. Not the craziest numbers, but Carly, she was really She's behind some really, really good pitchers. Obviously, there at UC, whether that was Cord or Burgess or a number
Show.
of Shope, a number of All-American level pitchers. I think she's going to have a chance to shine. I think she could be a breakout player. They've got a really nice 1-2 punch. Talk a little bit about. I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a minute. But her in the circle is going to be pretty solid, and they're going to need arms to step up. Like I said, no more Kirsten Manning for St. Francis, so we'll see what they're going to do with the circle. And I think she's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good get for them.
Carly, moving on to our surprise team. We're different about how we do this from conference to conference. And with this one, I feel like Chicagoland, our surprise team is who could get in the conference tournament, make a run, and disrupt Saint Xavier. I think it's going to be really tough to over the stretch of 16 games for a team to beat Saint Xavier in the regular season. So, Carly, who's a team that if they get hot in the tournament could win the conference tournament and be a team playing really good softball heading into opening round play?
Yeah, I got my money on St. Ambrose. The Fighting Bees, first of all, is a phenomenal mascot. I think that's fire. But also, I mean, statistically and team wise, they returned two of their main pitchers in Leah Morrow and, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, Ada Boyson. And then they just returned a lot of the bats in their lineup. Becca Hag, Kylie Claypool, sophomores last year, who were second on the team in RBIs, combined for almost 30 extra base hits. And then they had a little bit of speed on the bases. They got Shai Erdrich, who either the stats were a little off or she was injured last year, but junior year stole 51 bases. I think she is a big factor for them on the bases. And like I said, they return a lot of their bats in the lineup. They got their pitchers. They've got some experience. I think they're one of those teams that makes a run.
I'm gonna go with Calumet. I talked a little bit about it earlier. Kelsey Lovelace, shortstop. I think could be a really nice piece for them in the center of the lineup. Aubrey Morales in the outfield is another returner. They return some good production in the circle, at least some good experience. J.C. Piper along with Tori Jensen, but also they bring in some pitching new. From the high school ranks. Of course, we'll see so that works out with new faces from high school stepping up to college ball. But yeah, I really like Calumet. They were a 6 seed that went on a run in the conference tournament last year. I could see them doing it again this year. But another team I want to throw out there. I don't really know if it's fair to call them a sleeper team or a surprise team, if you will, because they are usually at the top, competing with Saint Xavier, and that's going to be Saint Francis this year. Carly, I really like the 1-2 punch they're going to have in their circle. I know I've said it 2 or 3 times. Number Kirsten Manning, but they do have Emily Boyle coming back, who was solid sub 4 ERA, and then Caitlin that I've already talked about being a breakout player of the year. My question for Saint Francis and their second year coach Alyssa Moreno is who's going to step up in the lineup besides Isabella Landeros, who I mentioned as a candidate for Player of the Year. But yeah, all that being said, Carly, I have the San Xavier Cougars winning the regular season. Probably a
Yeah.
tournament too, but we're not doing tournaments here in our preview.
Yep. Yep. I'm right there with you.
And of course, with picking them, they are the lone team in the top 25 of the Chicagolands heading into this season. Number 23 team ranked respectively. And Carly, they if you wanted to knock Saint X for anything, I would say over the previous 3 years, maybe the schedule not the toughest. You certainly can't say that about them heading into
No.
2026. I mean, doubleheader on February 12th. Valentine's, by the way, Valentine's Day weekend is poising up to be an insane weekend for NAIA softball. It's always usually pretty good, but it's going to be really, really good. We've talked about some. Go back and watch our last episode on YouTube with Coach Jessica Pistole. Of course, reigning national champion with Southern Oregon. Great stuff there. But St. X, they play Madonna, number 14th ranked. Then they play Marion a couple weeks later on February 26th in a doubleheader. Then March 5th, they have Georgia Gwinnett in a doubleheader, and they wrap up the season. So right before conference tournament, they're going to have a doubleheader with Grandview. And I mean, who knows how these things shake out, but that game could have huge impacts on where teams are sitting on the bubble or wherever with Grandview and St. X. And I feel confident St. X and Grandview come late April will be opening round teams, but
Hmm.
a couple wins one way or the other could certainly be a big difference when we start looking at who is a 2 seed versus who is a 4 seed, or however that gets sliced up. Carly, I know you had a couple circle with St. Ambrose. One that I have circled with St. Ambrose. They are coming down to Lakeland and playing Southeastern. I definitely want to try to get out there and watch that one.
Yeah, a couple other ones just because I picked them as my surprise team. I think they've got a really tough schedule. They got preseason schedule. They got number 11 Midland, Valentine's Day, Madonna on February 21st. They take on Central Methodist March 6th, Texas A&M San Antonio. They take on Southeastern March 7th, Olu March 8th, Grandview March 12th. They have an absolute gauntlet in the preseason, but like I said, if they're going to make that run towards the end of the season, I think these games are a great way to start it off.
I feel like Grandview's just playing everybody. I know
They
they're
really
coming.
are. They
They're
said, "Give
coming
me
down
everyone."
here. Yeah, they're coming down here playing a bunch of Sun Conference teams. They do that every year. They're going. They have a tough schedule in Shawnee. I cannot wait for the USAO Grandview opening round rematch. Shawnee, Oklahoma. Oh, that's going to feed families. All right, Carly. Conference games to watch. We picked out a couple teams we're high on. Of course, playing St. Xavier April 17th and 18th. 4 games set. St. X versus St. Francis, and then a week later, the 21st and 22nd of April, St. Xavier against St. Ambrose are our conference games to watch. And I'm sure, look, I know we didn't hit everybody in the Chicagolands, but look, that's how we're doing our previews this year. And go beat St. Xavier's. I'm sure a lot of non-St. X Chicagoland people are probably tired of hearing us talk about them. Go beat them, and I promise we will talk about you. We got a lot of softball to talk about over the next
Yep.
4 months, 4.5 months, ladies and gentlemen. So, with that being said, let's head over on the other side of the road to the Crossroads. Carly, this is year in and year out. I know it through the 3 years. You know it through the 2 years of covering it and playing not too far away from Crossroads softball. High scoring, crazy games, crazy upsets. There are going to be some games we look up. It's going to be 14-15. There's going to be just classics in the Crossroad every year. I expect no different because I think the bats, and this is all due respect, I think the lineups are not just a step. I think they're 2 or 3 steps above the pitching in the conference this year, and that is not knocking the pitching. There is good pitching in the Crossroads this year, but there is elite hitting in the Crossroads in 2026.
Yeah.
It
It's crazy.
it was very difficult to pick a player of the year. I have like 5 honorable mentions. I narrowed it down.
I see that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my gosh, it is so hard. Carly, who did you pick for your 2026 Crossroads Player of the Year?
Yeah, I went with Abby Madeir for Marion. She was 2024 All-American outfielder. Got injured last year in March, but before then put up some stellar numbers, was hitting 412, had 12 doubles, 6 home runs, racked up 31 RBIs, and like I said, she got injured. I think she's going to come back off that injury, comeback player of the year in general. I'm picking Abby Madeir.
Not to pick at old wounds here, so Marion fans maybe skip forward 30, 60 seconds here. How close was this team to winning a national championship last year? Because day one in Columbus, they beat Southern Oregon.
Hmm.
Elimination game against Southern Oregon. I mean, we just talked about with Coach Pistol, but they're down 5-0 in the top of the seventh. Marion puts up a 6 spot. Big error, obviously, helps get that go-ahead run across. Then, rest is history. Southern Oregon scores in the bottom of the seventh, bottom of the ninth. Eastern Oregon handled them, so it's kind of hard to say, oh my gosh, if they win the championship, because they still would have had to do with Southern Oregon, which beat Oklahoma City twice. Eastern Oregon, obviously beat them 8-0 in 5 innings, so it was kind of But man, Abby Madeir comes back to a lineup that does not lose very much. Now, no Olivia Stunkel in the mix, which is that's significant. But
Yeah.
we're going to talk about why it's maybe not the biggest of worries. I think this is one of the best lineups in the country. They're the number 5 team, the Marion Knights, coming in to 2026, and I think they have a top 3 lineup in NAIA softball. They may have one of the best. I mean, Carly, just try to think off the top of your mind. I'm rambling and scrambling. All right, Marion fans, you back. All right, y'all come back. Marion fans, this all right. All right, we're not talking about anything bad anymore now. It's all good stuff for the Marion Knights for the next 10, 15 minutes at least. Um, I don't know off the top of my mind. I don't know of a better lineup. I think Oregon Tech's going to have a really, really strong lineup this year. Cumberland's is going to with what Bruce
Yeah.
brought in from Olu. There's
I
several
don't think
we could go
Oklahoma
down.
City has ever had a weak lineup.
No, no, of course. Oklahoma City's going to smash again this year. I mean, they lost a couple pieces, but they
It's
they
it's Phil.
return. They return. It's Phil. Yeah, yeah, it's Phil. I mean, they return a ton. LSUA is going to be strong. We know that. Madonna is going to be really strong. I can't wait. We'll wait. We later segment with the non-conference games to watch. But so many names up and down their lineup. I mean, Abby Hoffman, I think, is poised to have another All-American, maybe even Player of the Year level year. But I'm gonna go with Lily Went, just because. I mean, you could go Abby Madeir, like you said. Hopefully, she stays healthy all of 2025. Abby Hoffman was one of the best players in Columbus a few months ago. But I'm gonna go with Lily Went. Like I said, another corner infielder. She led the Knights last year with 61 RBIs, batted 425. But so many names to pick from outside of Marion too. I mean, Indiana Wesleyan returns one of the fastest players in the NAIA and one of the best overall contact bats with Morgan Yeater. She's going to we're on to couple episodes down the line, we are going to do our preseason All-American picks. Little spoiler: Morgan Yeater might be my
She's up there.
shortstop. She's pretty high up there. She's batted 494, 41 stolen bases in 2025. Briley Bilger is probably going to be on one of our teams as well. She's got 36 home runs in the last 2 years. One of the best power hitters in NAI softball, coming back for her last year. So yeah, there's a couple of Wildcats you could have gone with, but yeah, like I said, I'll go with Lily Went. You're going with Abby Madeir to not only be a comeback player of the year, but overall player of the year in the Crossroads. Now, pitcher of the year, Carly Fitzer. We both went with something little bit different. I'll let you go
We did.
first.
Yeah. Yeah. No more Olivia Stunkel, uh,
No
kind
more
of
Jordy
running in the
Ball. Yeah,
circle. No more Jody Ball. It's kind of out there right now. I went with Emily Underwood of Spring Arbor. The
great pick.
junior had a pretty good year last year, 2.4 ERA and 105 innings, struck out 86. I think she's a big piece for them in the circle, and she's looking to have a great senior year.
Yeah, Emily's a great pick. She had a
Thank you. Thank you.
phenomenal year last year. I was honestly when you texted me, like, I think I want to pick Emily Underwood. I was like, I didn't even think about it, but that's a great pick. Yeah, I could certainly see her in leading Spring Arbor. If she can have another sub 2.5 ERA, I'm not sure if there's going to be too many names that are going to beat that. Now, it could be some
Yeah.
pitchers that step up. I think there, honestly, I would not be surprised at all if there's a name that we're not talking about, because we're being pretty conservative with our newcomers coming into this year.
Yeah.
We just want to see what happens. Now, some we are certain about just from D1 transfer or whatever, they put up numbers, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I'm gonna go with a another familiar face in the Crossroads. She has had back-to-back really solid years. I think she's going to have a massive junior year. That's Kenzie Mollenkopf of Huntington. Really like Huntington. I've gotten to watch them play games over at Space Coast. Really well coached team, really disciplined. They fly around the field. Kenzie's really good in the circle. They usually pick off a good team or two. Last year she had a 3.36 ERA and 133 innings pitched. And when there's not, I don't mind stretching a little bit for that one. When I'm really not sure, I don't see there's not a dominant
It's open.
pitcher. Yeah, I mean Cascade last week. It's like, all right, it's Ayla Davies. We feel
Yeah.
pretty confident in that pick. I don't feel confident in that in a pitcher of the year pick. I do like Kenzie though. I think she's going to have a big year. But I'm gonna start us off with breakout player of the year because it kind of leads over, because I also
Yeah.
think that Macy Cohen could be pitcher of the year. I think she is the breakout player of the year, and it's not a new face to the Crossroads. But of course, if you're talking Marion pitching the last 4 years, you're talking about Olivia Stunkel for very good reason. Macy Cohen though was a really good number two for Marion last year. I expect she takes a big step up in a new role, being number one potentially, or at least veteran wise, being a number one option for Coach Scott Fleming, who I mean, him and his staff do such a great job. Bree does a phenomenal job with the pitchers as well. I think Macy will take that step up and be breakout player, be all Crossroads level, maybe even all American level pitcher.
I like that. I'm gonna stick with the Knights as well. She was a freshman last year. Mystic Means, now sophomore, outfielder for the Knights. Kind of dipped her toes into some action last year. Played in 41 games, had 14 starts, but in her freshman campaign, hit 418, collected 28 hits, 6 RBIs. I think she's a really sneaky lefty for the Knights. Gets a lot of small contact, pokes some through the holes, just finds a way on base. I think she'll be a big player for them.
All right, we're looking at surprise teams. Look, we know the Crossroads folks. I mean, it's been Marion, it's been Indiana Wesleyan, kind of running softball, at least in my lifetime, short lifetime in NAIA softball. But look, things happen. We see crazy things happen. We saw British Columbia make a run in the or not Crossroads,
Sure
excuse
did.
me, in the Cascade last year, made it to the championship game, beating Oregon Tech and Southern Oregon. So we see things happen, of course, all the time. I'll tell you a team I think could make a run in the conference this year, and definitely in the conference tournament, 'cause I think they are a team that is built for tournament softball, and that is team I was just talking about, the Huntington Foresters. Why? They bring back their pitching, of course, talking about Kinsey, but not only that, bring back a lot of the infield around her. Bring back Maddie Goen behind the plate, Maddie Duvall at shortstop, her left side of the infield partner at the hot corner, and Jesse Duvall. Relation? Possibly.
Duval.
Duval. So let me get through this. Let me get through this. I'll say I have Casey Hickle coming back in the infield as well. I'm big on Huntington. I think they could definitely be third best team in the conference and make some noise in the conference tournament. Carly, my dad and we almost got tickets. So my dad is the biggest Trevor Lawrence fan. He's a Falcons fan, but obviously
I know he's a Clemson guy.
yeah, graduated from Clemson. So he's huge Trevor Lawrence guy. We considered going to the Bills Jaguars game this weekend.
Dude, that would have been so
I
fun.
know. I was trying.
You
That
got
was the
Trevor
one I was
Lawrence
trying to
and
convince
Josh
him.
Allen.
Oh my God. Oh, oh my
It's not too
gosh.
late.
White boy fanning out over here. Hey, I tell you, I'm so fired up for the playoffs. You, on the other
Oh,
hand,
we are
you
in
are
for
against
we're in.
America. You're against America, the Packers. If you don't know,
What do you
Carly,
mean?
obviously agreeing.
Who the hell is cheering for the Bears? Get real.
What me? What Dub Bears? Dub Bears. That's not even trying to stir you up. What you gonna be Ben Johnson? Are you gonna bring? You know what? I bring my good, better, best every podcast. You bring your good, better, best. I'm fired up. What are you talking about? Everybody loves the Bears.
No
Y'all,
way.
yes,
No.
you are tripping right now. All right, if you're watching on YouTube right now, as long as it's before y'all play Saturday. Yeah, yeah. All right,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
y'all should be watching this before the game. Comment down below if you're rooting for the Bears or for the Packers. I mean, I'm rooting for the eighth overall pick because that's what the
Listen,
Saints got.
listen.
But
If y'all aren't go Pack go, I'm gonna have some serious beef with you this season.
yeah, we haven't announced where you're going for conference tournament yet either, because we're still trying to work out details. But she may find you. She may come find you. No, Carly's going
I
to be hitting the
will.
road. Of course, I'm going to be with the Sun Conference tournament this year. Carly, I don't know what to tell you, dog. I mean, you're crazy if you don't think America's not with the Bears.
No,
It's
no shot.
It is like it is. I personally, and I'm not saying I'm chronically online, but I got my screen time's higher than average. I definitely get the vibe where it is kind of like the map where Wisconsin is green and yellow, and then everything else is navy and orange. I could be wrong though. I don't know.
You got me wrong.
I don't know about that. Carly, who's your surprise team for the Crossroads?
Oh, I gotta settle down. I went with St. Francis Cougars. They bring back their entire pitching staff. Junior Abby Robakowski in the lineup hit 515 last year with 17 home runs and 57 RBIs. Peyton Iliff, a little lower in the batting average, 295, but still smacked 16 home runs, 45 RBIs. Madison Minich leads them in stolen bases. She had 12 and hit 413 with 26 RBIs. I think if pitching staff can hold off other teams' offense and keep their offense in the game, this offense could carry them pretty far.
Love St. Francis. Shout out Coach Boylan and crew. Excuse me, and crew. Look, it's going to be an absolutely insane year. We know that in the Crossroads this year. Did want to mention just because we have it and they do. They definitely do compete in the conference. Usually is Taylor they returned pretty much their entire infield. Bring back Livy Lehman at shortstop, who was really good a year
Mhm.
ago. Bring back her left side of the infield partner in Madison Standenberg, and first baseman Kaylee Larkin. Also bring back Claire Cullen, who had some moments last year. But yeah, you talk about Spring Arbor, Emily Underwood, very, very underrated pitcher. They're keeping cards so close to their chest for the newcomers. Respect Spring Arbor, I respect it. But yeah, Indiana Wesleyan,
Yeah,
Marion,
that was funny.
they're going to be opening round teams. Carly, how many teams from the Crossroad are going to be in the opening round this year?
Oh, I'm gonna say two.
Really, I think three. I feel confident three.
Three, yeah, three is it's 50-50 for me.
Yeah, I think I mean, I'll be
Two,
shocked if
two confirmed.
yeah, obviously, yeah. I mean, auto bid, they'll get two in, even if the conference just falls apart. I don't think that happens. But yeah, I think Indiana. I mean, I'm really interested to see what happens with Indiana Wesleyan this year. We don't get into the off the field stuff too much, and we're not going to here with the coaching change at Indiana Wesleyan. But obviously, we'll talk a little bit. I mean, Kelsey Coristra. Have not had a chance to talk with her yet. Definitely want to soon. She obviously did a really good job at Cornerstone and the WAC, making a good run last year in the conference tournament. And then she was there. You saw Cornerstone in Cumberland's, correct?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So Coach Kelsey, who was the coach at Cornerstone, she is now at Indiana Wesleyan as her alma mater. Brings in a whole new staff there. I'm not going to go on this too much, but Indiana Wesleyan was my favorite favorite school that I have
They have
been.
great facilities.
Yeah, been to just from a culture spot. I mean, how they devote the game, devote what they do to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Against, I'm not going to get too much into here, but it's awesome. It was phenomenal. I had such a great time. It's a place where it's a place built to win.
Yep.
And I'm excited with Kelsey at her alma mater. But all that to be said, Marion, I, I'm a little worried about the pitching just from I've only seen what a Marion softball team looks like with Olivia Stunkel as a pitcher. And
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying. I think it's one of the best lineups in the NAI this year. Carly, I firmly believe they are a serious contender for a red banner. I think they will obviously. I think they will be in Columbus. They will obviously be in the opening round. I think Indiana Wesleyan is an opening round team, and I think I think a Huntington or. Yeah, I really think it's Huntington. I really think Huntington steps up and is an opening round team. But don't be surprised. You had St. Ambrose. The
Yep.
experience pitching can take you a long way, especially say Marion wins the conference of the regular season, and then they're in the conference tournament championship. Well, that leaves an automatic berth for somebody in there. And if it's not Indiana Wesleyan, then it could be a Huntington. It could be a Spring Arbor. It could be a St. Ambrose, like you said. Carly, all right, great episode.
Go Pack.
Dub Bears. Dub Bears.
You know
I'm
what?
good.
I'll just talk to you on Sunday.
I'll talk to you Sunday. Y'all have a great one. Thank you for not saying anything about the dogs. Go dogs.